Ramble, YouTube, it's Charles here, and this is another edition of Wrestle Ramble, where I ramble about wrestling. I rarely do these. I just do them when I feel it, when I come across a story that I think needs covering. Also, forgive me if I seem short of breath during times I'm actually pedaling, getting my cardio in as I do this. But anyway, the big story is one of my favorite wrestlers may be on his way to my favorite company. Maybe. That is Tomasso Ciampa. If you're not familiar with Ciampa, he really hit his stride in the WWE on the NXT brand. And I would say especially when he teamed up with Johnny Gargano. And Ciampa and Gargano, they were just brilliant. And they really carried the storytelling aspect of NXT for years, in my opinion. And everything seemed real and organic between them. From them getting thrown together as a tag team, I think it was for the Dusty Rhodes Classic. And then once they really started gelling as a tag team, the WWE put on their Cruiserweight Classic tournament, which involved a lot of Cruiserweight guys that were under contract, but also guys from around the world. Names that you wouldn't see again in WWE, like Kota Ibushi or Zack Sabre Jr., and, other guys who earned contracts off of it, like Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali. But, they really had an emotional match. It was one of the first matches that really made me emotional watching it in years, and that was their Cruiserweight Classic match. And to be honest with you, I can't remember who won, who lost. I remember it was a great match, and what I remember the most about it is after the match, Johnny Gargano was sitting in the ring heartbroken because he went to battle with his friend, and Tomasso Ciampa turned around, got back in the ring with tears in his eyes, sat down next to his buddy and hugged him. And that, like I said, that was just sublime storytelling in wrestling. And they went on to become a very, very popular tag team, winning the NXT Championship many times. And then when they split, after Tomasso Ciampa turned on him, they had a brilliant feud, which elevated the both of them, Tomasso Ciampa to the NXT Championship and Johnny Gargano to the North American Championship. He may have won the NXT Championship. I actually quit watching WWE in the midst of one of their feuds, and so I don't have a lot of details past that point in their story. But they carried the NXT brand for a while until they were called up to the main roster and paired together against a tag team. I believe they won the SmackDown Championships on the main roster of WWE. Again, I wasn't watching it this time, so this is just all stuff I picked up from news shows and articles. But I am unabashedly biased toward AEW. It is my style of wrestling. It is, when you turn on the AEW show, you're going to see maybe 80 to 90% in-ring action, and none of the filler that you get with a lot of wrestling companies. And the matches are not just boom, 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 hit your signature move, hit your signature pose, make sure you get the shot that's going to sell a toy or a t-shirt or this or that. They take the art of professional wrestling seriously, and while there is some humor and some storytelling in AEW, they really seek to make it look athletic. And I think somebody like it. Now, to be clear, Tomasso Ciampa did not say that he was going to AEW. But in my mind, with a wrestler at his level and at his age, he's not going to want to leave WWE as an upper mid-card guy who can make great money in a different company. I don't think he's going to want to leave to go travel around working the indie circuit, making $500 to a few thousand here or there and having to, grind on the road again. He did that. I know he has a lot of friends in AEW, and when you're at that level, I think realistically there are two options, and it's maybe controversial, but I don't see TNA wrestling as one of those because TNA wrestling has become virtually a feeder system for the WWE, and they just do not have the finances for somebody like Johnny Gargano. And I think that or not Johnny Gargano, sorry, Tomasso Ciampa. And I think if Tomasso is going to choose to not re-sign with WWE, he's not going to go to a WWE affiliated wrestling company to make less money. And so that really takes companies like TNA and AAA off the board. Even, I think, Pro Wrestling Noah as well in Japan is affiliated with WWE. Now, in my estimation, since he's not going to go to any WWE affiliated companies, it leaves two options. And both means that he will be on WWE television. I mean, AEW television. The first, probably not so obvious option, actually three options. But all three roads lead to Tomasso Ciampa in AEW. Those options are New Japan Pro Wrestling. Right now, they are really hurting for talent. A lot of the top stars have gone to AEW, and a few have gone to WWE. So he could easily go there and be a top American star for a while. But they have a working relationship with AEW where they share talent. And they have people with dual contracts, like Konosuke Takeshita. And so, with his big American following, if he signs in New Japan, he's going to make appearances for AEW. Like, for example, somebody like Zack Sabre Jr. or Gabe Kidd does. And so that's the one. The other option is down in Mexico, CMLL. Either one or two, depending on your preference, organization in Mexico. And CML has a working relationship with AEW and other wrestlers like Persephone and what is his name? The name is blanking on me, but the guy's gimmick is Magic. He's on a dual contract as well with CMLL and AEW. Hechicero, that is his name. He's on a dual contract. And again, if a wrestler has enough of a presence in America, even if they're not signed to AEW, they will likely make appearances for AEW, like Mascara Dorado has. And then last but certainly not least, I think that the best option when you take away WWE affiliates and companies that cannot afford him is All Elite Wrestling, because they are backed by a billionaire, partially owned by a mega corporation on national television, and they have the ability to pay equal or in excess to what WWE can. And I think that not only does it make sense monetarily and with his high profile, but with this wrestling style. While, yeah, he is known for, and I mean, one of his great strengths is his character work. He can seamlessly flow from babyface to heel, good guy to bad guy, naturally, because everything he does is grounded in reality. If he is the plucky underdog who is trying to redeem himself from past bad deeds, or the jaded veteran who feels like he's not getting the respect he deserves, and, has this righteous fury, or you name it, he can do it, and he can make it natural, which is a rare feat to find in somebody with his technical wrestling ability. And again, his wrestling style is based in reality. He's not going to be doing a lot of flips, a lot of showy stuff. Everything he does looks like it hurts. He always looks like he's trying to win a match. I have never Now, I've never watched a Tomasso Ciampa match and thought, wow, that's ridiculous. Everything he does, be it character work or in ring, is grounded in AEW. You're going to have multiple matches that can take up to 30 minutes where wrestlers get to get all of their shit in. They get to do all, show the entirety of their character, their move sets. They get to put together a match to tell a story. Be it a 5 minute, if it's a short match, it's a short match for a reason. If it's a long match, it's going to, be largely dictated by the performers themselves. And I think when you have an elite level performer, that's where you can really get that quality of long matches in. And so I genuinely think that Tomasso Ciampa is going to AEW, and I am very happy about it. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed because you never know. He may end up back in WWE. If you look back at when Johnny Gargano decided to leave WWE, he was gone from wrestling for months, and it was to a point to where one episode of AEW Dynamite, somebody put up a Titantron of a new wrestler coming out, and it said Johnny, and everybody in the crowd lost their shit until it said, John Morrison, and it was a different Johnny, and everybody swore that Johnny Gargano was going to debut on AEW, and then after that tease, they thought, oh, okay, that was just a red herring, but he ended up signing back with WWE. So, in all likelihood, I think it's either AEW or signing again with WWE. But regardless, I'm excited. I love seeing, the possibility of getting to see wrestlers interact that have not before and getting to see what they can do. And, a lot of people, find greater success in other companies. While I don't watch WWE, I don't fault anybody for going there. Jade Cargill is an example of somebody who was brand new to wrestling when she came into AEW. Did, really learn on camera and built up a strong persona that, instantly led to her going to WWE main roster version. And so, you get talent to get the benefit both ways. And when you have multiple companies like this, the talent makes more money and they get more freedom. So that's it for Wrestle Ramble. I will see you guys next time. I'm about to get into the episode of AEW Dynamite. You guys be easy. I'm out.